Namaste and welcome once again to Sadhana, the Inward Path, right here on SABC 3. Today we've packed in the seva, satsang, music and dance to inspire and enlighten. We meet the multi-talented Teeluck family in Durban, celebrate 30 years of the Arya Samaj in Isipingo beach, and stay in the area for the raising of 108 jhandas at the Sri Hanuman Mandir. We end off our show today with an interesting meeting with Alfred Ford, the great-grandson of the legendary car giant Henry Ford. Since the most ancient of times, music in India has been practiced as a spiritual science and art, a means to enlightenment. The tradition of Sangeeta, which is the combination of music, dance and drama, has been richly preserved by the Teeluck family right here in Durban. Sadhana met the proud parents whose daughter Shruti seems all set for the international stage.
The best way I could describe my family is we love music, we love dance, we love the arts, and so whenever we can fit it into our day, we try to.
With my kids, when my daughter was born, she was exposed with classical music from the time she was a very small baby. Even before she was even born, when my wife was pregnant, we used to play Indian classical music for her, and even dancing also. So they were exposed from small, and as we were teaching, and they were picking up a lot by just listening.
I learned music from my dad, Teeluck, and my mom, Ashmuki Teeluck, and I learned sitar from them. And music is basically my life.
For me, it was a must that my kids to have their own sitar, and I made sure from the age of 3 they had their sitar for them to play.
Sitar is very special to me because both my parents and my brother and my aunt also play it. They all play it, and it's part of my family.
We got them exposed to Western classical music also, which this is something I wanted to do, where they exposed to both North Indian classical music and Western classical music. And for me, music is a universal language. And we realize it has the same effects, because I played in the temple, I played in the church, and that effect is exactly the same thing,
Sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa and is the same as do re mi fa sol la ti do. It has the same vibrations mentally, physically, and it has the same feeling that comes out. I play the violin, which is Western classical music. I do music as a subject at school, and I learned from the Durban Music School.
She studied her first notes on violin from there, and now she's gone right up to grade 7 on violin.
When she started her Western classical music with the Durban Music School, which we've been very, very grateful to have their support also as a school. And we're Shruti been writing whole exam with the Royal School of Music from London. And then she started playing in the small orchestra for the school. The big opening happened when she was chosen to play in the National Youth Orchestra.
I got accepted for the International Youth Symphony Orchestra in Bremen, which is in Germany. Youth orchestra, it's basically made up of teenagers playing all kinds of instruments.
The concert is mainly because we are trying to raise funds for the air ticket for Shruti to participate in the International Youth Orchestra in Germany.
Firstly, I'm going to be dancing with 2 of my friends, and then I'm going to be playing violin, and we're having a family item. My mom and I are going to be playing sitar, and my brother is going to play tabla, and my dad's going to play guitar.
The item that I'm actually really looking forward to is a guitar item which Sanjit and Shruti are going to do, because that's what happens in my lounge.
My dad and I are going to be playing a guitar duet. We're going to be jamming. Because he's my dad, we have some kind of connection. So you'll notice that we look at each other for that feeling, and then like we have to have a mental connection of some sort.
Music is supposed to be a sadhana, dance is supposed to be a sadhana, and hence it's supposed to be done on a regular basis.
We always feel the more practice you do, the more blessing you get from the instrument. And with all her good results that she gets in school with the music, that also I think really creating all the opportunities.
I believe every child is born with different talents, and if they're allowed to nurture it, whatever their talent is, any child can achieve high.
But God has been good to us. I'm very grateful to that. I would also like to say thank you to all the people that have supported us and all the blessings that come from everywhere, you know, and that mean a lot to me and my family. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Welcome back. The Arya Samaj in Isipingo recently observed their 30-year anniversary. Sadhana was present to share in their celebrations as members were honoured, and the sacred Mahayajna ceremony formed the focus.
Today we have the Mahayajna, which is the celebration of the Arya Samaj of Isipingo Beat's 30th anniversary.
It is a real milestone. The Samaj was started in 1984 under the humble beginnings, very humble beginnings, at the humble home of Pandit R. Pyarelal, with the other members that are quite senior in age at the moment. In 2009, we were offered the premises of Mr. Lakshman Ganpat. And this was the most trying period in his personal life, because there were times we used to have satsang when there was total darkness, there was no electricity, but services would go on. And this is what motivates us and inspires us. Isipingo Beach initially did have a huge following. However, as time went along, members moved on to different areas after 1992, and this did affect the membership. However, that didn't stop us here from continuing and serving the community.
We learned as a Vedic that God is everywhere. He's omnipresent and he has no form. Therefore, our main prayer is the Havan itself. If you notice that our prayers in the Mahayajna itself, you will not see any representations of God. The light signifies God, our lamps signifies God, so that's our main focus.
The Havan is also called a yajna. The yajna is conducted on a regular basis with a small group of community members or with a family. But the Mahayajna is conducted on a much larger scale. Maha means big or large. The Mahayajna is performed to bring in large gatherings of people to pray for the welfare of the community as a whole. And as with any other Havan that we perform, is to create a positive and energized atmosphere.
During the course of the yajna, you will find ahutis being made, and the ahutis are offerings. The offerings are samagri, and the samagri is made up of medicinal roots, herbs that have been put together in a recipe form by the ancient rishis. And this, in turn, when it's offered into the fire, together with clarified butter, which is known as ghee, and when it is burnt with wood itself, it emanates a disinfectant, which purifies the environment.
When we offer the Havan Samagri into the fire, we end with the word Swaha, Idam Agnaye Idan Namama. Swaha means that which is given with sweetness. Idam Agnaye Idan Namama is that all that I have is not mine. It is a result of the effort of a number of people put together. Therefore, apart from using it for myself, I must use it for the benefit of others as well. The essence of the entire Havan is contained in this single phrase. It also creates a value system upon which we build our lives. The lighting of the fire is just a physical Havan. The spiritual message comes from Idan Namama, that is recognizing our relationship with others as human beings, as well as with the animals, the plants, the natural resources, the planets, and the universe. We are reminded to move beyond our jealousy, hatred, ego, and to approach nature and all others with a sense of humility, harmony, respect, and to positively acknowledge the role that others play in our lives. That is basically the whole essence of the Mahayajna, or the yajna that anyone performs at any particular day.
People are turning to God as they realize the importance of prayer and worship. Therefore, I'd like to encourage everyone, especially the youth, to join an organization, a religious organization, which motivates their thoughts and actions towards a righteous path.
Yes, this selfless, simple ceremony permeates the atmosphere with sacred divine vibrations, ensuring that positive energy is channeled to all the beings in all the worlds. Still in Isipingo, Sadhana joined the Sri Hanuman Mandir for the raising of 108 Hanuman flags in reverence of Vayu Kumara. Lord Hanuman stands proud and tall as a symbol of faith, strength, and victory, as the chants of Pavana Sutta Hanuman Ki Jai reverberated throughout the area.
Manojavam Marutatullya Vegam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtham Vatatmajam Vanarayothamukhyam Sri Ramadutam Sharanam Prapadde Sri Ramadutam Sharanam Prapadde
Shri Guru Charan Saroja Raja Nij Man Mukur Sudha Varno Raghuvar Vimala Jasu Jodayak Phal Cha Buddhihin Tanu Jaan Ke.
Hanumanji hoisted the first red flag to show the presence of Lord Ram as a ruler.
Today we'll be raising 108 flags. The red one presents Hanuman and the yellow one presents Shiva.
Red flag depicts victory, and the yellow flag represents Lord Shiva. And since Hanuman is the 11th incarnation of Lord Shiva, so we also hoist a lot of homes hoist the yellow flag as well. 108 is a very significant number in our Hindu Dharma. The 108 represents infinity. The flag flying high actually depicts victory, and it also gives you a symbol that's the Hindu home.
It's a Indian parampara, means सनातन धर्म से ये चला आ रहा है, winning flag. तो हनुमान को कोई can't beat him, Hanuman. So that's the reason he always one hand gada and one hand flag, and fight, finish, and then put flag. The second reason, any fighters symbol red color, same like Durga, Mahakali. Somebody put one flag like a one or square type, but it's not a Hanuman Dhwaja. Hanuman Dhwaja also like two. The author of Hanuman Chalisa's name Sri Tulsi Das ji, and the Chalisa means 40 different chapters in this Hanuman Chalisa. If anybody do this prayer, Chalisa chanting, so Hanuman bless, and Sankat kate mite sab pira, jo sumre halumat balbira, jai 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 Hanuman Gosai, kripa karhu Gurudev ki nai. So that's the reason we chant Hanuman Chalisa.
For me, when I do the Hanuman Chalisa, it actually gives me a different feeling, and it actually gives me a lot of bliss and peacefulness in my life.
सूक्ष्म रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज.
Hanumanji is such a strong devotee that he's able to overcome all obstacles, and when you take his name, you are also able to overcome all your obstacles in life.
Hanuman is very strengthful, powerful. Somebody's lot of money in the life, power, body, personality, but Hanuman give message, you know. You use your money, your power for the beggar, poor person, same like, so help, not use for only self.
Ambarish Das, or Alfred B. Ford, great-grandson of the iconic American industrialist Henry Ford, joined ISKCON almost 40 years ago. And true to his great lineage, Alfred too is building a legacy that will last a lifetime. With the mission to construct the world's largest temple, the Temple of the Vedic Planetarium in West Bengal. We caught up with Alfred in Durban during his tour of South Africa.
I grew up in America, obviously in a very wealthy family. From a very early age, I was inquisitive about life and God and, you know, death and all the big questions in life I was very interested in. And so I studied various religious institutions when I was at college, but never really latched on to anything. After college, I met a friend who had become a Hare Krishna devotee, and he gave me books by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and I read them, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, also some small paperbacks. And immediately the philosophy clicked to me. It sounded exactly like what I wanted to hear, what God was like, and what my relationship was with God.
Mr. Henry Ford is not just a well-known person out in the business world, in the Western world, but he's very much a well-known and a foremost figure in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness.
When I took initiation from Prabhupada in 1975, of course, you know, the instructions of the guru to the disciple become the disciple's life and soul. So I did some service for Prabhupada, acquiring some property and helping establish a temple in Detroit. And it was at that temple in 1976 that Srila Prabhupada described the Mayapur project to me. Mayapur is the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya is the Yuga avatar. He's an incarnation of Krishna who brought the chanting of Hare Krishna to this planet 500 years ago. He wanted a temple that, you know, would be a large cultural center where there would be a planetarium, a dome building. So all these parameters I took into consideration, and we tried to do something right away, but it didn't happen. In 2005, we came up with another strategy, very straightforward strategy to build this temple according to Srila Prabhupada's parameters on the property that we owned, and we started, and it took off like anything.
He is developing the largest Vedic temple in the world, where he has placed a phenomenal amount of his own wealth in developing this beautiful temple.
He's actually put $25 million of his money to make this thing manifest, and now he's going around the world inspiring all the members of the society so they can come forward and also contribute whatever they can so that they can be part of this glorious project.
In the Bhagavad Gita it is stated, whatever a great man does, common men follow. And he is using that principle. He comes from a very famous family. He has a famous last name, and he's using that in promoting higher spiritual values, higher moral values, higher ethics.
I look for businesses that are run by ethical people, that have a global vision, that want to do something good for mankind. And those are the kind of businesses that I like to get involved in, and I feel I can give myself to. Because I can't just invest money. That to me is not enough. I have to be able to invest myself in it. You know, the word ethics comes from the Greek word ethos. Ethos means character. So in order to have good ethics, you have to have a good character. And so much of our character comes from our spiritual life.
There are 4 main principles of spirituality that is taught in our scriptures, the Srimad Bhagavatam. One is truthfulness, second is austerity, third is cleanliness, fourth is charity. And if you see, all of these 4 pillars of religiosity are so wide that any person can encompass these wonderful spiritual principles and imbibe them in his day-to-day life, in business, in work, or however. Cleanliness means cleanliness of mind, cleanliness of activities, cleanliness of body. Austerity means not to indulge in the money that we make for our own senses, but actually to use it for the benefit of the others. Charity means to be able to share the wealth that we make with those who do not have so much. And truthfulness, always being very truthful in our dealings. He has always used his money for the benefit of others. All his brothers and sisters, they own private planes and he doesn't. And when asked, he says, no, my money is not meant for me alone. My money is for sharing with others. In order to make man selfless, proper knowledge has to be given. In order to distribute knowledge, monuments are required, buildings are required, from where knowledge can be emanated. This spiritual knowledge was emanate from this wonderful building, this monument that is being constructed in West Bengal.
Like the Fords, we all have the ability to leave behind lasting legacies. Legacies of love and compassion, kindness and service. Construct a temple of beauty, love and purity in your heart and make it an eternal abode for God to reside. Thank you for joining us, and until next week, keep up your sadhana. Om.